Good morning. I'm going to help you with some of your definitions on your sheet today in this video so you can refer back to it. Now I think you've got tithing, hue and cry, trial by jury. Sanctuary you might remember from last week, but if not, basically if you'd committed a crime or you were accused of committing a crime and you managed to run to a church, get into the church, you could claim sanctuary. And even the sheriff of the county did not have the authority to take you forcibly out of the church. Once you'd claimed sanctuary, you were in the power of the church. And usually the church would give you 40 days to choose whether you had to stand trial or whether you were going to leave the country altogether. So yeah, there we go, that's sanctuary. Benefit of the clergy. Well, it's similar this, except maybe you couldn't run. Maybe you were already caught and you wanted to have to be under the authority of the church rather than the normal courts, which we call secular courts, non-church courts. But you've already been caught, so actually you can't run and claim sanctuary, but you've got another choice. What you can do is claim benefit of the clergy, which basically means if you can read a passage from the Bible, then that supposedly proves that you have or have in the past worked for the church, because pretty much everybody couldn't read except some priests. But the problem was people got around this by memorising the passage from the Bible that everybody had to read. So it became known as the neck passage, because that's what was going to happen to you if you didn't memorise this passage from the Bible. So, and you could still get tried in the church courts if you could manage to correctly reproduce this particular passage from the Bible. Now, remember, if you go in the church courts, it's not like you get away free. You have to choose 40 days. You get to go on trial, or you have to leave the country altogether. But the big benefit is, if you do get put on trial, the church never orders executions. So there we go. So that's sanctuary and benefit of the clergy. We'll carry on. The constable elected for 1 year. We did that last lesson. It was a voluntary position. They had to lead the hue and cry if a crime took place, and generally just keep the peace, keep an eye on things in the local little village. Above them would be the sheriff of the county, a much bigger area, and they would come and join in if it was a serious crime, the hue and cry hadn't been successful, and the sheriffs would often round up a posse. I wonder if that's on your sheet. I can't remember. No, it's not. I'm going to go past mutilation, capital punishment, bagel. Blessed bread is a trial by ordeal technique which the priests were allowed to use, where they got bread that had been blessed, and if they didn't choke on it, they were innocent, which is ludicrous, clearly, and it was an example of the priests getting an easier ride than everybody else. The murderum fine, of Miss Forest laws. Remember when William took over, he loved a bit of hunting, and he said, all of England is mine, and only the people I give land to, I don't give them the land, they're just kind of renting it from me. They're my tenants-in-chief. So, but this particular bit of land is forest. I'm not giving it to anybody, it's mine, and we're going to keep it for hunting and things like that. And if people hunt, which illegally, which is called poaching in the forest, or chop down trees in the forest areas, or do anything illegal, we'll chop the 2 fingers off, the 2 most important fingers, these ones. And if they do it again, we'll poke their eyes out. So those were the forest laws. The murderum fine. Well, when William took over, people kept killing Normans. So what could William do about it? Well, he came up with a cunning plan. If a Norman was found dead in suspicious circumstances, everybody in the local area would get a hefty fine. Now, that's going to mean some people will try to protect Normans, perhaps, saying, oh, don't murder him because we'll have to pay. So it's a collective responsibility thing to try to stop Normans getting murdered. I'm going to go past trial by combat. I think you should know what that is. Stocks and pillories, that's when you commit a crime, you get stuck in the stocks like that. People chuck things at you. It's like a humiliation more than anything else. And the church courts, wow, this was amazing. When William came in, he usually took loads of power. The forest laws we've spoken about. He said, all of England is mine. But he did give the church some extra power that they never had before, because he said they could have their own church courts. Why did he do this? Think of the papal banner and the Battle of Hastings if you think back to that other module. But yeah, he gave those people the church, I don't know why I call them those people, he gave the church their own courts so they could try priests in there. If a priest committed a crime, they don't have to go to the normal court or secular courts. They could go into the church courts, which were a lot more lenient. So there we go. Those are some of the harder definitions from your sheet if you're a little bit stuck.